Welcome to the United Racing Network. My name is Andrew Spears, and joining me tonight is a special guest. Our back-end producer, Jacob Burton, is filling in for Rob McDonald tonight. Everybody, welcome Jacob Burton for his first broadcast with J2i.
Hello. Not my first radio and broadcasting. Of course, I did some broadcasting for another league that we broadcasted for, but that was several months ago, and so I'm a bit rusty at this. Of course, multi-class racing, GT3, LMP2, not as familiar with, but I'm going to learn as I go along. So just bear with me if I get something wrong. Hopefully I don't, but we'll see.
Yep. And Rob is with us tonight. He is having internet issues, so he is going to be taking care of the back-end stuff. So Rob, say hi to the chat if you will, and we'll move forward with this broadcast. We are here at Interlagos in Brazil. The capacity of this track is 60,000 people. Broke ground on this track about 1938, opened in 1940. We have about 82 to 83 years on this track. And let me tell you, this track was once bigger. Jacob, tell us about that fact.
Yeah, so from its opening, from the opening year in 1940 all the way up until 1979, this track used to be 7.9 kilometers or 4.9 miles, almost 5 miles with 26 turns. That is pretty crazy, I think even by would be today's standards. And then in 1980, they shortened the track very slightly, only about a tenth of a mile, or even half a mile, up until 1989, where they basically cut the track in half. It went to 2.6 miles, 4.3 kilometers, and then it kind of stayed around that kind of 2.6, 2.7 mile range from 1990 all the way up until today. So the track has definitely undergone some changes and some different records, of course, with each different variation of the track.
Yeah, and these cars are going to be getting around this 2.67 mile course tonight pretty quickly. These guys in the LMP2s are getting around this track about a minute 22, and GT3s, their fastest time is a minute 30. So these guys are moving around this track pretty fast tonight, and we'll watch these guys go as they take on the Endurance Challenge here at Interlagos. We'll have an hour and a half worth of racing. So that's going to be fantastic. We should be going to the qualifying section here soon. And qualifying, we're going to do the first 10 minutes as belonging strictly to LMP2. The LMP2s will come in at the 10-minute mark, and the GT3s will qualify for the back half of that 20 minutes. We will go green at the top of the hour. So you don't want to miss it for sure. You definitely don't want to miss it. Now, we were here last week at the Sprint Series, and the GT3s, I'm sorry, not the GT3s, but the Porsches that they were racing, they put on a heck of a show. You remember that one, don't you, Jacob?
I do, yeah. Of course, I was doing the back-end production, so I wasn't really watching the race too much, other than just kind of making sure everything was working in the back end, but it was definitely entertaining. And I think we'll see some more, even more entertaining racing here with multi-class.
Yeah, and the multi-class on a tight track, I've not really seen it. We went to Donington, we went to the track before Donington, and those tracks are a little bit bigger, a little bit wider on their courses there as far as like the width of the roadways. But this track is the tightest one we've seen. So these LMP2 cars are going to be fighting for position with the GT3 cars, not for competition position, but just for track position. So, you know, these guys are going to have to set their corners up right, let everybody know when they're coming by flashing their lights. It's going to be interesting to see where these guys are sitting at the end of an hour and a half. We're anticipating at least 2, possibly 3 pit stops tonight with both classes. So, you know, we'll see what happens there. These guys are going to be battling all night long with the GT3s and the LMP2s. So we're going to see if these guys are ready to roll here. Jacob, one of the biggest things that I've got a question to ask you here is, are you going to be watching more of the GT3s or the LMP2s?
That's a good question. With the GT3, I've seen the GT3s more, of course, with doing the GT3s for another league that we broadcasted for. I've seen them plenty enough. I haven't really ever seen, up until we started broadcasting for J2i, I hadn't really ever seen LMP2 cars race, and so I'm kind of probably going to keep my eye more on the LMP2s.
Yeah, and I'm pulling up our timing tower here. So everybody that's located in red, that is going to be our our LMP2 cars. So right now we're following Rocky. The car we're going to be following is going to be highlighted green, but if they're up there in that top section, they're going to be the LMP2s, and the GT3s are going to be labeled in that light blue color. As we follow almost sector here, you see his name lights up in green right there. That number lights up green. We're going to be following him, and we do have gap and interval turned on tonight for you guys that like the numerical side of racing. You'll be able to keep up with that as well. I got a little tongue tied there.
Yeah, words are hard sometimes, but we'll get through it.
Mystery Lane, I agree. This is going to be some great racing tonight. And, you know, we've got a packed field. We've got a total of about 25 drivers slated to race in this race. 10 LMP2 and 15 GT3 cars tonight. Now, out of the GT3 cars, Jacob, who are you got? What manufacturer do you got?
Ooh, out of the GT3s? I mean, I'm a Porsche guy through and through, to be honest with you. So I gotta stick with my gut. I gotta go with the Porsches on this one.
I like it. And I believe we just had a bunch of fog roll through. It is foggy on this track. It's going to be hard to see these drivers tonight. We're going to follow along with a bunch of these guys that are doing open qualifying. So these guys are all going to be on track at the same time, trying to get their qualifying laps in. We'll try to navigate this fog as best we can, but
I think someone left the fog machine on.
I tell you, I make sure it's not anybody else, but there's a lot of fog on track. I'll check the weather here, see what the weather's showing for us. It's showing partly cloudy, but the wind the wind is blowing about 12 miles an hour. So, Rob, if you're listening, that's different now.
Yeah, that's a higher wind than I've seen, so that's going to be. I don't know if that's going to have much of an effect on these guys. I mean, high speed it might.
Yeah, this just means it's going to take a little bit more time for rubber to get placed on the track. So.
Yeah, so definitely some strategy placement there with the wind as a factor, and of course the fog. I mean, it's adding to it just as we sit here. So definitely gonna be a challenge for these guys. But
yeah, this fog is definitely gonna give everybody an issue tonight. You know, especially setting your corners up. We do see the sun coming out, so maybe that fog will start rolling away here soon. And these guys are completing their out laps right now. They're starting their green flag pits, or their green flag qualifying runs. I will tell you, Intergalactic Gentleman, Lieutenant Dan, and Tonlo are all really good at these. Like extra good at these LMP2 cars. So that's who I'm looking for tonight. Those three are going to be running up front all night long.
Yeah, I've seen these guys race plenty doing the back end stuff, and they are very good racers. Very clean, very tight. So they shouldn't have any problem with this, and hopefully everybody else is the same. Hopefully we can keep it clean and have no, issues where somebody's getting turned around, didn't pass correctly or whatever. Let's hope we can keep it relatively sane here.
Now, do you think Intergalactic Gentleman's going to take the car to the moon? I mean, he does have NASA painted all over that car.
That's a good possibility. We'll have to see what he's got. Hopefully he doesn't have a flux capacitor, otherwise he might be going back to the future.
Well,
did I say that? Is that copyright? Oh, no, I just got us demonetized. Oh, no.
Maybe. But what is it? So what's the number that they had to get to?
88 miles per hour.
Oh, well, he's number 87. If he was number 88, that'd have been a good little thing there. Lieutenant Dan puts down the fastest time of that lap at 1:22.11. Fuzzy Taco bringing up the second place with 1:22.23. Void is sitting in third currently with a 1:22.39, but that was the first lap. And these guys have at least 6 laps here with the time restraint of a 10-minute session. They have about 6-7 laps they can put in. So
definitely some room for improvement. Your first lap is always going to be kind of interesting because you got to kind of learn the track, and some of these guys have probably already learned this track, been practicing for a while, but got to figure out the corners, figure out where your turn is, how much braking, all that stuff. You got to figure that out for the first couple laps, and every lap after that you can kind of improve on your time, just adjusting little things.
Yeah, and Simply Steve right now, if you're watching the qualifying timer at the bottom, Simply Steve is in position to take the position away from Void in third. So we'll watch that closely to see if he's able to take that position from him. on this qualifying session. He is driving the number 023. Beautiful, what is that? Does that say Simply Speed? I like it. Car. I love, that's a good looking car. I love the all white cars, and he does take that third position away from Void as he goes to the pits. And Void takes, well, I'll take that back. Erico just posted one of the fastest times of the evening with a 1:22.83 on qualifying.
Not too bad, not too bad.
Appreciate it, Captain CK. Or as Rob likes to say, Kippin CK.
Yeah, I figured that one.
Another guy we're following right now. Oh, it looks like Lieutenant Dan may be fixing to post another good time. He's showing to be the fastest guy right now. The way that the timing bar at the bottom works is it'll position the top 4 guys, based off of how they're going through the sectors. And Lieutenant Dan is looking to make a fast pass right here. So let's take a look at him as he makes his final few turns to get to the start-finish line. And as he approaches the start-finish line here, Lieutenant Dan will not move into that first place position.
Oof. He was gunning for it, but he, I guess, just didn't have enough oomph to get up there.
That's right. And these cars are beautiful. They're Dallara P217s. These cars have the same manufacturer that builds the Indy cars. They are absolutely magnificent, and just you can hear that engine. I love that engine. There's a good look at Eat My Dust there.
Love the names of these guys. Fuzzy Tacos, Lieutenant Dan. It's a Forrest Gump reference. I love that.
Yeah, and he actually has Eat My Dust on his helmet there as well, along with some cannabis leaves, some pot leaves. So, I like it.
There you go.
We're going to throw the tower up here so we can see where these guys are qualifying at. Tonlo is on his outlap finally. I think he may have had an off-track incident, meaning his time did not count. If these guys go off track or they hit the wall, their time does not count. And he has completed 2 laps right now, so we'll see where he sits currently. But he is on his outlap. We will start his time right now. And these guys have about 3.5 minutes left in this qualifying session. Those are Ohio Buckeyes. I don't know, man. That looked like a pot leaf to me, but I'm not judging anybody here.
I mean, yeah. I mean, you do what you do.
And Tonlo will not complete this lap. He's going to the pits.
Oof.
Erko, one of the admins of the league, is sitting in that first place position currently. He will hopefully start on in the front there. Starting in the front in an LMP2 race is always a good thing, as long as you can maintain it through the first couple of laps and you're sitting pretty good. But the way these guys have been driving, we're approaching the halfway point of the season, and they're going to be fighting for whatever points they can grab here. So.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be critical these guys get really good times and get good positions and hopefully keep it throughout the race. But it's all dependent on how well they race, how well they can control their car, and that's how it is.
Yeah, and I'm sitting here looking at the live timing over here, and we're separated. The top 4 is separated by less than 1/10 of a second.
Wow.
Erko, Fuzzy Taco, Lieutenant Dan, and Void are all separated. I'll just go down the time. So Erko is sitting at a 1:21.83. Fuzzy Taco is sitting at a 1:21.84. Lieutenant Dan is sitting at a 1:21.83, 1:21.84. Lieutenant Dan is sitting at a 121.98, and Void is sitting at a 121.99.
Oh.
So 1 and 2 separated.
Of a second difference.
Yeah, one and 2 separated by 1/100th of a second, and 3 and 4 separated by 1/100th of a second. Just absolutely fantastic.
And something I'd like to make mention of real quick is lap records, because I've been looking at this list over here of lap records for the LMP2 cars in particular, and these guys in the LMP cars, I think, have beaten the record.
Let me look at my handout here. So LMP2 is the fastest time was set in 2014. The driver was Oliver Ply, maybe. He was LMP2. He posted a 124.916, and they have beat it by about 2 seconds.
That is pretty darn crazy.
Yep. Erico will go in this lap here, and we do have people exiting pit road for the GT3 series. You see all the GT3s coming out there. We will see AJ. Looks like AJ is going to get collected in the GT3 pack. So, you know, his night is over for qualifying. He will take it into the pits on this next pass. But let's watch Prince Adams. Prince Adams is driving that black and blue. Reminds me of a dolphin with that blue color, but he's driving the number 43 car there, BMW. And I was talking to you about the GT3 manufacturers. Who is your favorite manufacturer with the GT3 cars?
Like I said, it'd be Porsche. I'm a Porsche guy through and through. I love the designs on them, or the design of the car itself. You know, I mean, I'm a Porsche guy. My dad's a Porsche guy, so you know, pretty much Porsche through and through. I do like the other manufacturers. I think they've got really good cars, but I don't know. I'm a Porsche guy.
Yeah, well, that's a good. I mean, I like it. There's only one Porsche out there tonight, and that belongs to Mystery Lane. He was in the chat earlier talking about trying not to put the car into the wall. So hopefully your Porsche will not go into the wall tonight.
I hope so. Mystery Lane, you gotta do it for me, man.
Yep. There's a lot of BMWs out here, but Dean is driving my favorite car, along with Bar South and Sector, and that's the Mercedes. When they updated it, I absolutely enjoyed it. I can race it. It feels good. It's heavy in all aspects of the car. Like, it just feels good. And, you know, that's what I like about that car the most.
I do got to say the Mercedes cars are definitely very good. I haven't driven them myself personally, but they look great. They seem like they perform really well. So definitely be a contender here.
Yeah, and these guys are going to be battling all night long to gain any position they can. I just want to remind everybody about the start of the race here. The start of the race, the LMP2 cars will start the race. They're going to start from a rolling start. At the GT3 cars is going to stay stopped for 10 seconds. After that 10 seconds has passed, the GT3 cars will roll in formation down to the start-finish line, and it is on from there for an hour and a half, 90 minutes of racing here at Interlagos. You definitely don't want to miss the action. Make sure you share it out right now. We do have time to get more people into the stream. I have just put the action notification on our Twitter page. Our Twitter page is twitter.com/United Racing Network. So, you know, you can retweet that and get some more people in here if you have Twitter, if you do tweet. And, you know, you don't want to miss this action. Penderperson has made the fastest pass as of right now with a 1:30.714. You can see the difference here in times between the GT3s and the LMP2s, almost 10 seconds there.
Yeah, absolutely. The LMP2s are more of a kind of speed-focused car, I would imagine. I mean, everything's speed-focused, but I think the LMP2s, the way they're designed, aerodynamics and everything, they're more aerodynamic than the GT3s would be.
Yeah, very aerodynamic for sure. These cars do not like damage, so these guys will try to stay off of each other as much as they can. But I will tell you, last week in the Porsche race with the Sprint Cup, or with the Sprint race, I almost said Sprint Cup race, with the Sprint race, something I noticed is that there was one corner that was just getting everybody. And let me look at the track map here. I'm going to butcher the name of this corner here, but it looked to be turn number 10, Bico de Payo, or de Pedo, Bico de Payo. I think I butchered the name, but that corner got everybody because you're coming out of turn number 9, hitting turn number 10, and turn number 10 is a hairpin, but turn number 9 is a long hairpin. It's a wider hairpin, and so that's those two in particular. I believe are going to be a lot of what you have to look out for tonight. Now, coming into turn number 1 is the S's, or in Spanish they call it Siena. They'll get through the S curves, and they did pretty good on that last week. There was only a few incidents that I can remember seeing that caused an issue. So, as you see, Biker Pilot here goes through the S curves. The thing here, Jacob, with these corners is you want to hit the apex, especially going through the S curves like that. You want to hit those apexes.
Yeah, it's about cutting as much of the track as you can without actually going off track or do anything like that. You want to cut as much distance as you possibly can, and so hitting the apex is one of the, I guess, the simplest ways to do it. Yeah,
for sure. And we've reached the 15-minute mark. We just want to take a second and thank our sponsors of the race tonight, W Energy. W is a great energy drink. It doesn't have any of the weird stuff that all the other energy drink companies put in their drinks. It's all natural based stuff, and I actually drink it myself. Ordered the starter packs. They got those back in stock. I actually got an email from the president saying they got those back in stock. And if you're looking for a cheap something just to give it a sample taste, you can go on to w.gg and use our coupon code URNW to get 10% off your order. So make sure you do that. The other thing is JP Alfonso. JP Alfonso is a tattoo artist out of Atlanta. He is a fantastic tattoo artist. Does a lot of black and white stuff, but he also has guys in his studio that does other stuff. So just go online, take a look at some of his work. If anything, follow his Instagram and just like and support him from there if you don't mind. He does a lot of good work, and who knows, you may get a tattoo one day and it may be JP doing it. So he's a world-renowned tattoo artist, known by many people throughout the world, won many awards. So make sure you check him out as well.
And of course, if you want to get a tattoo by JP himself, I believe he's booked out to 2023. So if you're going to do it, you better book now, because you may not get to.
Yeah, for sure. Back to the action here. It looks like Dickinson has taken that first place spot away from Penderperson, posting a 130.40. Penderperson had a 130.60, and Noah Who is sitting with a 130.85. That's your top three as of right now, but we still have about 3 minutes left of qualifying. So far, you've seen the LMP2s, and you've seen what times they're running. Who do you think will be sitting in the LMP2 specifically? Who do you think will be running most of the race tonight? Who do you think will win in the LMP2 series?
Oof, that's a tough one. I don't know if I can really make a clear-cut answer on that one just yet. Because these guys are really good. There were a couple of position changes in the qualifying for the LMP2 cars, and so it's anyone's game right now. So I don't know.
Okay, I mean, I respect that. Rob doesn't like giving answers right away either. He waits to the last minute to pick, as he always does. But you know what? That's fine. You can be Rob for a little while. I am going to pick Tonlo. Tonlo did great in the LMP series 2 weeks ago, and I think he's going to be a contender. As long as he can keep the car out of the wall, Tonlo will have it. But for this race, I think, and I'm going to go with it, Dickinson is going to be the one to watch tonight for winning the GT3 side of things.
Okay, all right.
See him there racing the SimCity Racing 64 BMW.
Very nice looking car.
Yeah, very, very slick looking. I wish I could learn how to spec map. I did build a new car today, though.
Oh, that's good.
I built the breast cancer awareness car that I'm gonna be racing in the leagues that I race with.
Nice.
It is in honor. Well, and I say in honor. It's in celebration of the hard-fought battle that my mother-in-law had and won. Has her name on there. Has her symbol through cancer she had, which was Wonder Woman. Got that on there. So. And
that's good. Congratulations to her. I mean, cancer is an absolutely monstrous thing, and I wish that more people could overcome it and just not have to deal with it. But life throws curveballs, and that seems to be one of them. But you just got to be strong, push through it, and there are lots of people that do. And that's good.
That's right. And we're following Joshua Spears right now. He is no relation to me. I don't know him. We may be long lost cousins from another brother, I guess you could call it, another uncle. Long lost cousins from another uncle. That's right. That's the way it is.
Something like that.
But as he actually spins out there, coming through turns number 5 and 6.
It took the turn a little too hot, or maybe ran out of qualifying time. We are at the end of the GT3 qualifying, so.
Yep. And with that, we are going to take a short ad break here. We'll be right back before we go green. All right, Jacob. Well, they've got about 10 minutes of warm up here, so we are going to turn the music on, push through these guys that are on track, and watch these guys do their warm up laps. After seeing qualifying, I think that we're going to see some good races on both sides of the spectrum here.
Yeah, absolutely. Multi-class racing is always a good time, and so be interesting to see how it goes here at Interlagos.
Yeah, Interlagos did not fail us last week when we were here, and I don't think it's going to fail us this week. We come here, like we did, and I think we're going to see action all night long.
Absolutely.
And as we figure out what's going on here, we will not be going to warm up. We will be gridding. So my apologies there. Doing the two different series I get confused on, but let's check the grid with these guys. We are going to be under the fog tonight, unfortunately, so we'll try to catch all the action that our cameramen can find. But these guys will be gridding right here. Remember, the top 10, the first 10 cars, which is the LMP2 cars, Erico, Lieutenant Dan, Fuzzy Taco, Tonlo, Void, Simply Steve, Intergalactic Gentleman, Eat My Dust, AJ, and Rocky. Those 10 cars will take off, go down to the start-finish line. They'll have their start, and then the GT3s will be right after them. We picked our guys in the chat, guys. Pick who you think will win each respective series. I'm looking for Tonlo, and I'm looking for Dickinson. So.
Yeah, I don't know who I'm going to pick. I think in terms of LMP, I don't know. I mean, Erico is definitely a really good racer. Lieutenant Dan, I think those are probably the two most prominent that I'm going to keep my eye on, but I can't really make a full pick just yet.
Yeah, like I said, I respect that. We still don't have Erico and Fuzzy Taco into the grid yet, so we're waiting to see what happens there.
Let's hope it's nothing serious. Maybe just a late grid.
Yeah, hopefully, because Erico and Fuzzy Taco are sitting in good position with where they're placed in the grid. There he is. Erico just joined here, and we will be getting ready to roll here. Pace car will take off here. the top 10 cars will go out, get their start. The GT3s will be following right behind them. I can't wait to see where these guys end up at the end of this 90-minute race.
Yep, 90 minutes of multi-class racing here at Interlagos, also known as Autodromo Jose Carlos Pace.
I don't know if you butchered that or not.
Well, I guess Portuguese is different than Spanish. They're slightly different pronunciations.
You know what? I'll take your word for it.
Instead of, and I may be wrong on this, but this is just from what I've learned. Jose is not Jose, it's Jose. The J is more of a J sound, so. But I don't know Portuguese. It's kind of one of the languages I'd like to learn, but don't have really a whole lot of time to actually do it.
Yeah, I understand that for sure. There's the GT3s right behind them. GT3s will give them the space they need, the 10-second buffer, as we approach the final few turns here. We're about to go green. They're stacking everybody up. Pace car is going to dip off here. He says, I'm going to go back over here and eat my steak that's been waiting on me for the last half hour and let y'all race. He will not come back out on track until, well, ever. Once we're green, we're green. GT3 is going to slow up here. LMP2s are getting ready to go. And we are green here at Interlagos with the LMP2s. Gets through the S curves okay here. Checking the start on the GT3 here. We are green. And it looks like Dickinson, Penderperson, you know who, and Joshua Spears will lead their lines down to the S curves. Let's see what happens here. Lieutenant Dan has had an accident, it looks like, but we'll look at that. Lieutenant Dan did spin, it looks like. Everybody gets through the S curves okay.
Yep, everyone's holding their line and keeping distance from one another. And doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Yep, and I believe Lieutenant Dan crashed on that S turn here. Let's take a look here because he's a 00 there. Looks like he grabbed that dirt on them cold tires, got loose, took it around, and grabbed that wall. So he may actually come into pit road early here.
Yeah, it's not going to be good for him. Even just a small amount of damage, even on the backside of a car, is going to be detrimental to that aerodynamics. So definitely have to get that looked at.
Yeah, and I'm sitting over here looking at what the book said. Strategy is going to be kind of interesting here for the GT3s. It's going to be with a two stop at least, but the pit windows are going to be wide. That means that these guys can stay out a long time, and we do have an hour and a half here. So we'll see where we set. You know, I believe the first pit stop will come about minute 40, 45. And you know, we'll see what happens from there. These guys do have full fuel load, and Dickinson is going to lead this first lap with ease over Penderperson. Let's check on the LMP2 cars. Erko is doing well tonight.
It's a good thing his car has easy identification and figure out who he is because it says Erko on the side.
That's right.
I love that.
Yep, Lieutenant Dan has been passed up. He did go into pit road. As he gets loose coming off of pit road there, he is going to get right in the mix with the GT3s.
Of course, that's where it's going to get very interesting because LMPs are faster than GT3s, and so he's got to kind of pick and choose his battles and make sure he's passing correctly.
Yeah, he's going to pick and choose his battles on these turns because, like I said, you know, these turns are going to be bothering people all night long. You know, when we were talking about turns earlier, turns 9 and 10, which is what they're getting through right now, you can see just how tight these turns are. That's turn number 9, and this is turn number 10 right here. As you see, he gets on the inside of the 123 car, but he gets cut off by the 32 there. And these guys in the GT3s, they're running their own race, so they're not really worried about what these LMP2 cars are doing because they're not worried about them. They're not in the race. They're not in contention for points or position over the LMP2 cars. So these LMP2 cars, being the superior car, is going to have to pick and choose their battles on when to move around these cars.
Yep, and as we mentioned earlier, it's just a battle. You know, like you said, it's not a battle for points or anything like that. It's just a battle for track position. Being in this track is the tightest that we've been on so far.
You know, we're sitting here following Tonlo right now. Tonlo's keeping his distance from Erico, but you can see just how much of a distance, just how much of a gain he gets in these corners as they make it around, and Erico gets loose in, it looks like turn number 10, and it's going to set up the pass for Tonlo. And Tonlo's going to, it looks like he locked the car up, and, you know, it give Tonlo a chance to get up there. Looks like Junior McKinn is in pit road right now.
That was weird. He just, on my end, it being a little bit glitchy at times. Seems like he had just slowed down way too much. Like, I guess, like you said, locked the car up. So
yeah, we're still dealing with the weather situation right now. You know, fog, track temperature is only 64 degrees. There's not enough rubber on this track to keep the car straight. So these guys are having to be ginger on their brakes and ginger getting back into the gas. What I mean by that is being real easy. Getting into the gas here because, you know, since there's not a lot of rubber, since their tires aren't real hot, they're just having issues. As you see, a 3-wide battle, the 23, 17, and 24, as you see the 23 take it inside there to set up that turn.
I saw some contact between blue and white car there.
Yeah, I think I saw some too between the 17 and the 023 car. But I do not have an indicator of what happened there, but I did get an indicator that Rocky went off track. Let's take a look at that. And he does. He actually gets around.
Ooh.
Keeps it off of the wall, thank God, and
yep, just a simple traction loss and kept it together. So
the same issue it looked like what Tonlo had earlier.
Yeah, it seems like it.
I'm sorry, Erico, not Tonlo. Erico's still fighting for his first place position back from Tonlo. Tonlo took advantage of that early. Looks like Junior McKinn is still on pit road. He's been sitting there now for 2 minutes.
I'd be curious to know what happened with him. I don't think there was much that he was involved in.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Looks like Book and Dean have been battling. Let's go back and take a look at them. Dean's in the number 11 car. Book is in the number 560 car. Let's actually take a look at the pass that Book made on Dean. You see they're getting 3 wide going into this corner, and this is kind of, you know, this is a, you don't want to be 3 wide going into these corners. It just sets up for a bad situation, especially like you see right there with that BMW getting the Ferrari, getting that Ferrari loose there. He's just cut the air off on him and got him loose.
Yeah, I don't really think you want to be 3 wide on most of this track because with it being so tight, it would just be a recipe for disaster, and especially in the corners. That's even worse. So.
Yep, and Rocky is showing. I was seeing if I could find Rocky, but he was.
According to the timing tower, he appears to be out.
Yep, I'm seeing that as well.
Huh.
Not sure what happened there. Rocky did crash. Let's take a look at that. You know, Rocky had that incident earlier with the turnaround.
Oh yeah, just got it loose.
He does take it to pit road with the world's fastest pit crew, or the world's fastest towing service.
Something like that.
Yep, Penderperson is sitting in the. Let's see where Penderperson is sitting. It shows him to be currently sitting in the. I just lost it here. Stand by. In that second position. Looks like he's trying to catch Dickinson, who's sitting in that first place position.
Yeah, Dickinson seems to be holding his own. Of course, I think he was your pick, or at least one of the ones you wanted to keep an eye on.
Yeah, him and Penderperson and my other ones was Tonlo with the LMP2. those were the ones I was going to keep my eye out on. But Mystery Lane has went off pit road. I mean, I'm sorry, not went off pit road, went off track. As you see him get loose there. That's your Porsche. Oh, almost contact there with that Mercedes. Great avoidance by that Mercedes there.
Yeah, you had to go around him to the right off track to even avoid him. So that could have been a lot more disastrous than it was. I want to make note of something. Lieutenant Dan was one of the ones I wanted to keep my eye on. He's in last in relativity to the LMPs. That is, I don't know what happened, but that's unfortunate.
Yeah, he did lose. He was in that incident earlier. Lost 7 positions, according to what I'm seeing. And he's battling. He has battled through the LMP. Sorry, he has battled through the GT3 cars. Now he's having to make his way back up to Intergalactic Gentleman, who is sitting 23 seconds ahead of him.
Oh man, that's a rough break for him. But at least Erico is still up there in second. He's my other kind of one that I wanted to keep an eye on.
Yep, and you see these guys just setting up these corners around these GT3 cars. It looked like Mystery Lane there was going to give it up to him. He said, I'm not racing you guys. You can have it. You're faster than me. A lot of blue flags flying tonight for these GT3 drivers.
I think that's one of the things that with GT3 and multi-class and all that stuff, that's one of the things that I still don't have a full grasp on is the flags, because the flags are different across multiple races and different styles of racing, whatever. So I guess for myself and for anybody at home that may not know the flags, kind of explain that a little bit.
So obviously green is the start of the race, checkered is the end of the race, white flag is one lap to go. You do have different flags for like the blue flag, meaning that you are the slower car. You do not need to defend your track position against a faster person, and you'll see this with the GT3 a lot. You also have the black flag, which is penalty, and you have the black with a cross, which is disqualification. That's what iRacing. That's the standard flags for iRacing, which is what these guys are seeing tonight. Hopefully, we don't see anybody get disqualified, and hopefully, we don't see anybody have to take any penalties tonight. But if they do, we will keep an eye on them for you. And it looks like
I had to pull up the flags, my little flags document here to actually kind of look over these, because I've looked over them before, but I never really memorized them yet. And it appears that that Rob, who is of course doing the back end stuff tonight, has dropped out of the booth. So
stand by. We have another accident. Rocky looks like he has crashed again.
He came back in.
Let's check this out. We had a few cars here go off. Looks like Rocky just... Is that the same one?
That is the one from earlier.
Somebody, I don't know if it probably was Eat My Dust. Somebody went off the track hard in the S curves right there in turns 1 and 2. Yeah, check this out. So the green car right there gets off the track. Luckily, he was out of the way of everybody, but he backs it onto the track. Did not grab anybody, thank God. But he is just trying to figure out how to get that car back straight and not ruin somebody else's race. As you see, the GT3 cars having to slow down to avoid contact with him. This field's getting pretty separated now. We do have a battle right now for fourth between Fuzzy Taco and Simply Steve, and Simply Steve is battling not lap traffic, but the GT3 cars. He's driving he's driving a Pez car right now.
Oh man,
brings back that's nostalgia.
That's a throwback right there.
Yeah, for sure. He should have entered our throwback competition on BSC, right?
Well, maybe you should have, but got to join into that first.
That's right. These guys like to turn left and right. The BSC likes to only turn left, so.
I mean, I think that's what I'd like to do. Is just turn left. Of course, I'm I guess more of a NASCAR guy myself. It's really what I've watch the most of, and it's what I know the most about. But this stuff is pretty interesting too, and definitely fun to get to learn.
Yeah, and Book has entered pit road again. Actually, it's showing he is exiting pit road. He had an incident earlier this evening, but we'll keep an eye on him. Just going to let you guys be forewarned about our ad breaks. We're going to take an ad break every 30 minutes, so we'll have 3 total side-by-side actions tonight. You won't miss any of the action. If you're subscribed, you're just gonna hear the race happening. But if you are not subscribed, you will watch. You'll have about a minute 30 side-by-side view of the action. So you'll have the ad play, kind of like they do in TV for NASCAR, if you've ever seen that before. So we'll have 3 of those, and we'll prepare you before it happens. So just keep watching, and we'll see where we sit after 90 minutes. And Void right now is sitting in third. He's been sitting pretty comfortably in third. There's not anybody really attempting to take that position from him. The interval between him and Simply Steve is about 2.5 seconds now. So
yeah, it doesn't seem to be too many position changes. It looks like, oh, never mind, there's one right there.
Yeah, he was overtaking that. He's overtaking that GT3 car there, trying to get out of the way of him, because the more GT3 cars he can put between him and Simply Steve, the better he is for Simply Steve not to get up to him.
Yeah, absolutely. But I guess with relativity to each class, there hasn't really been a whole lot of position changes. As you can see, in LMP2 passing GT3. I'm going to make note of something real quick. If I call out these cars and I call the colors, whatever, I don't have any way to figure out who's who. Everything's a little bit, I'm having to watch like a kind of very slightly delayed and very slightly pixelated view of everything. So I might not see something exactly as Andrew would see it. So just bear with me on that. Doing my best here.
We will definitely bear with you, but I do want to make note here. We have a three-way battle for 5th between Fuzzy Taco, AJ, and Intergalactic Gentleman. These guys are battling hard as we approach Penderperson, who's sitting in 2nd for the GT3 race. These guys are battling hard, and Fuzzy Taco is trying to put people between him and AJ as we enter the turns number 4 and 5 here.
You see there the GT3 and LMP2 car back there in the corner got pretty close, but they kept away from each other, and then the LMP2 still managed to pass on the inside.
Yeah, thank God, because Penderperson has his own race to run. He's trying to chase down Dickinson, but there's 3 LMP2 cars that is in his way. But you give it enough time, they'll be gone.
Oh yeah.
You see him passing Dickinson right there. Dickinson's taking the high line and letting them take the inside line, because these cars, the LP2 cars, do corner better than these GT3s do.
Yeah, I think a little bit more downforce is the reasoning for that. LP2 cars being more aerodynamic and having more of a focus on downforce than being lower to the ground as well.
Yeah, and it looks like Dickinson and Penderperson are finally seeing one another again. So Penderperson is going to be trying to, battle his way back up there. We're going to watch Tonlo and Erico here. Erico and Tonlo has about a 3-second gap on one another. I'm sorry, Tonlo has a 3-second gap on Erico as Erico finally makes his way into frame there. So,
yeah, I think it's still a tough break for Erico. Having the incident at the beginning, losing that first position. I think if he hadn't lost that, he would have been basically in the same position that Tonlo's in.
Yeah, and it looks like the only ones that are having issues right now, we're going to go to the field here and look at this. Just try to see where everybody is. Looks like Rocky and Junior McKim is out of the race. They're at the bottom of the timing tower there, showing it's out. Hate to see it here.
Yeah, that is unfortunate for Rocky being out. Hopefully we'll see him for the next race. Making a mention of Twitch chat right quick. We have Nicolator, the one of the admins of the league, says he couldn't make the race, but the race looks amazing from here. We appreciate it, dude. Hopefully me being here doesn't cause any weird voodoo magic to happen, because that's been known to happen.
Yeah, the last few times you broadcasted with me, we had connection problems and issues. So we're not trying to talk that bad juju. So let's not talk about it anymore.
That's a fact. Let's move on. Get back to the race, huh?
That's right. Erico is still about 2 seconds away. He has closed that gap slightly on Tonlo. Not near enough. Looks like Dickinson has made a lap car out there already. Prince Adams, the number 43 BMW, is now considered a lap down because Dickinson has just passed him. And that'll put a lap car between him and Penderperson. Penderperson is battling, or trying to battle, with Lieutenant Dan there as much as he doesn't want to. Trying to get around him, but Lieutenant Dan should move out of the way soon as that car is faster. But we do have a battle right now for the third place position between Unoahu and Joshua Spears. The number 7 and the number 84 car. We're going to tag along with them for a second. Oh, we have contact up ahead. Long Island Nerd, Bar South.
Oh.
Penderperson is involved.
Uh-oh.
Prince Adams is involved. We're just going to take a look at this. Long Island Nerd was involved.
Locks it up or just loses traction a little bit and
Yeah, that
slides it.
It did register as an accident. Oh, it looks like Bar South did the same thing right behind him. You see him get loose there, and the Pez car barely missed him.
Yeah, I think that corner is a bit of a catch-all, a bit of a catch-all for.
Well, that's turn number 9. That's the one I was talking about.
Yep. So that's going to be a catch-all for all the traction losses and slide outs and everything.
Yeah, we're following Penderperson here. Actually, sets the corner up wrong, cuts off Prince Adams, and did not set that corner up properly. He will lose position there. Let's take a look at that again.
A little pit maneuver on him.
That's what it looked like as Penderperson sets the corner up here and just taps his front inside there. It just is right inside. It just unfortunately gets him around. And that's unfortunate for Penderperson. Penderperson's back to 8th now. But you know who is sitting in that second place position. He does have some lap cars in front of him, or had some lap cars in front of him. But Joshua Spears is right there battling for that second place position here. Get back to LMP2 action here in just a second. Going to ride along with Fuzzy Taco here. He does have AJ right behind him, and Intergalactic Gentleman about 6 seconds behind AJ. As we enter the S curves here.
Might see a battle brewing maybe soon.
We'll see if these GT3 cars will have an issue, as it looks like
There's the pass.
Dean may have given an issue to Mystery Lane there. I'm sorry, to Fussy Taco. And Mystery Lane is in the number 32 car. He is coming up here soon. AJ's making the pass on Dean right now. Trying to get up there to Fuzzy Tacos to get that 5th position. Be good to finish. If you're able to finish anywhere within the top 5 is always good for sponsors.
absolutely. Everyone wants a, first, second, or third podium position, but top 5 is even still good. But aiming for that is quite difficult, and so really got to strategize and just keep racing. And eventually, if you're doing everything right, you should be able to get there.
Yeah, I actually had a very, very good race this week, finishing 3rd at Chicago Street Course. I know our sponsor, Dubby, really enjoyed seeing that.
Absolutely, gotta love me some Dubby. I think last time I was on the broadcast, I hadn't had my Dubby yet, and I finally managed to get some. It was the Galaxy Grenade. I actually have it right here. Yep, the Galaxy Grenade. Is that what it is? I can't read it. Yep, Galaxy Grenade. If you haven't had any Dubby, I would very highly recommend trying it. There's a link in the chat if you've been here for a minute. There's a link to Dubby if you want to get some Dubby. That link goes to support us, no extra cost to you. Gives us a bit of a kickback, and you get 10% off your order. So if you want some Dubby, check it out.
For sure. Lieutenant Dan is trying his best to catch Eat My Dust in the number 24 Dallara P217 car, but it looks like Eat My Dust is just going to keep putting the interval on him. We've got about 2 seconds ahead right now, and is gaining as he passes Dean again for it's like the second time.
I think Eat My Dust is putting out a lot of dust for everyone else to eat.
I see what you did there. Boom.
I was coming up with a joke in my head, and I was like, man, this would be a perfect opportunity for a joke.
And I got the live timing set over here to show iRating gains and iRating losses, and it's awesome to see this. Tonlo has an iRating gain of about 59 right now. Tonlo sets an iRating of 3,443, and I'll explain what iRating is here in a minute. But these guys that have fell back to the back, they're losing some iRating. The biggest one right now is Lieutenant Dan, unfortunately. Lieutenant Dan has lost about 100 points of iRating tonight because of the incidents he's had. Now, what is iRating, you may ask? iRating is how good you are at racing, essentially. How many passes you make for positive gains, how many wins you get, how many good moves and clean passes you make. It kind of falls right along there with safety rating. But, every pass you make that's clean, is smooth, and you don't really have any hiccups, you get a boost in iRating. And Lieutenant Dan definitely has not had that going for him tonight, losing, looks like 93 points almost. So, and yeah, Captain CK it makes a good point. There's no iRating changes in these league races. This is what it would show if this was an official race. So,
yeah, so just kind of like a what's the word?
Kind of like a if this was this is what it would be type thing.
Yeah, like there's a word for it, I can't figure it out, so I'm just gonna leave it at that.
And looking at the track map here, you can see everybody is finally spread out. We have a few battles on track. We'll see where we end up here. We should be approaching these green flag or these pit stops coming up around probably the minute 35 to 40 mark. So we'll be seeing our first set of pit stops tonight. We'll be sure to catch them live here. Just preparing you guys. We have about 3 minutes before our first ad break, so prepare for that.
Yeah, it's good to see all the cars spread out and keeping everybody away from each other. Really no super major incidents apart from the one we saw earlier with some contact between some cars. But other than that, really no major contact incidents, no major, super major off tracks and everything. So, been a clean race, which is good.
Yeah, Void has actually had an accident. Void's driving that number 25. You can see him get loose there. Grabs that inside wall. He took it to pit road, I'm sure, because that was a hard hit there.
Definitely don't want to be in that blue area. That is definitely that's very slick right there.
You do have a good cushion before you get an off-track incident. that you can dip your tires off the track there. But once you get on that blue, there's just no rubber out there, and you're going to start hitting what they call the marbles, and you know, you're just going to get loose every time. Yeah, you loose every time.
The track is where you want to be, and everywhere else is a no-go. But sometimes it happens like that. Sometimes you just don't have a choice, and you have to go out there, and you know, just is what it is. Depends on how good of a driver you are to control it and bring it back on track. You see Erico there. I think he's still gaining some space back to Tonlo.
Yeah,
he's really trying for it.
Yeah, so you can actually see Tonlo up there in his reach now, about 2 seconds away. He has knocked down that separation there by a lot, really. He was about 5 seconds back, but he has fought back and got the gap down to 2 seconds. But there's still a lot of GT3 cars in his way, and will that be a problem? We'll find out.
Yep, and you can see Erico flashing his lights to the GT3 ahead of him. Make sure he's aware that he's going to pass, as you should. And honestly, I think, you know, I'm looking at Erico with a bit of a tough break he had at the beginning. I think I can probably make a pick. I want to go with Erico because I really want him to get back to the position that he held at the beginning, and just kind of, you know, gave up through really very little fault of his own, and so hopefully he can make a return back to the front.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we've reached that 30-minute mark, Jacob. We're gonna take these guys side by side, and I'm gonna grab me some water. So we'll see you back here in about a minute 30. Thank you guys for enduring those side-by-side ads. We do appreciate it. That does help us out with the stream, you know, and you know, sitting through those. You're still able to see the action. You just can't hear it, unfortunately. You know, but you know, we're only taking 2 more of those, so bear through those, and we're gonna make sure you don't miss any of the action here. Now, we did have an issue while we were under the ad break with Sector. Sector went off track and crashed twice here. So let's take a look here. Sector's in the 95 car. Looks like he may have just dipped those tires into that. Actually, it looks like he locked them up there going into that tight that tight hairpin turn. And he's sitting in the middle of the track right now, letting everybody go around him. He does get it turned around without incident, thank God.
Yeah, those are the toughest corners to get through, is the ones that are really tight, because sometimes you'll just end up locking your brakes without really thinking about it, and then that sort of thing will happen. So,
well, yeah, and you also have you also have your spotter in your ear, you know, in front of you, and you start looking around like crazy, like, where's this guy at? And if you're in the hairpin turn, you just have to assume it's going to be in that turn, so slow it down, and you know, go through with ease. It's kind of like at Laguna Seca where you actually have the downhill S curve. There's a lot of incidents that happens there, and your spotter has to be on top of it to get you through those incidents there. Looks like Airco has closed the gap here on. Looks like Airco has closed the gap on Tomlo down to about. Looks like a second and a half potentially. So he did hard charge his way back up. You know, him and Lieutenant Dan. Airco got loose early in the race, and almost spun the car. They give Tonlo the chance to get around him and get a gap on him. And Airco has fought back and got to where he is. Tonlo is trying to put these GT3 cars in between him to give him a good buffer, but every pass that Tonlo makes, Airco makes that same pass with ease. So I'm sure you see Tonlo sticking his hand out the window offering the next guy that he passes $20 to hold Airco back a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think he can do that. That's probably against some sort of rule book somewhere.
Yeah, probably. But it's always good to think about, right?
I mean, yeah.
We have a battle right now. 6 and 7 Penderperson and Biker Pilot. Penderperson was involved in an incident earlier on in this race that, you know, caused him to go back from his first or second place position, first or second, I don't quite remember, down to the 7th position. So he's lost a few positions so far.
Yeah, I don't believe. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think Penderperson was ever in first position. I believe Dickinson was in first pretty much the whole time for the GT3s. So.
Yeah, he may have been in second, and you can see Dickinson here, you know, letting these cars by, letting the LMP2 cars by 6, 7, and 8, passing them with ease because we do have a battle for that 6th place position. You see everybody passing right there. Sorry, it's a battle for 7th, not 6th.
So between Eat My Dust and Intergalactic Gentleman. Two very good racers, and we'll see how this battle plays out.
Yep, and it looks like Prince Adams has went off track, looks like twice. So you can see him head off there into the grass, just overcooked those brakes. Almost come in front of the LMP2 cars. He stops and lets everybody by and comes back on track. Yeah, for sure.
But he did it right. He kept it off track, let him by, and kept everyone clean. So
and we do have pit stops happening right now. Long Island Nerd, Biker Pilot coming out right now. They were on pit road earlier. Pretty quick pit stop. It looks like they got fuel only.
Yeah, I don't really think you even need tires for this. I mean, fuel is really the biggest concern here.
Well, it's depending on if you cook your tires. I really hope we don't see a lot, but Airco, I mean, he's pushed hard to get back up to where he is, and you know, as far as track position goes on Tonlo, and you know, it's going to be interesting to see. We do have a fog in some parts of the track, and we have no fog in other areas of the track, so it looks like the fog may be rolling out here. Let's check out the weather, see how the weather is. Track temperature seems to be falling, air temperature seems to be falling, so but it shouldn't have an effect now, since these guys do have good rubber put down on the track, causing that grip. Appreciate everybody that's joining in mid-race here. Do a mid-race recap. Tonlo is leading the LMP2s, followed by Airco with about a second and a half gap, and Dickinson is leading the GT3 class by almost 16 seconds over you know who in second place, and from second to third is another 30-second gap. So first and second right now is secured until these pit stops happen real soon. I
didn't even notice that the second and third in the GT3s being 33, 34 seconds.
And Dickinson has entered pit road here, but he does have a good gap over You-Know-Who, so we're going to keep an eye. You-Know-Who may pit with him, as he does. Comes in right behind as he approaches the hill there. You may see a bunch of the leaders come in pit road here.
I mean, they're going to have to. I don't think they've pit thus far, and so now's their time. And so they've really got to make sure that they can get out ahead and keep their positions. Which, in this case for the GT3s, that's an easy task.
Yeah, these guys are still sitting on pit road. I'm not. Looks like Dickinson is going to be leaving pit road now. He did have looks like a 27-second pit time, so he got nothing but fuel. Just real quick, these cars with pitting, if they were to take tires, they cannot fuel the cars as they replace the tires. It's not like NASCAR where you can have, right sides up off the ground, fueling at the same time. It's not like that. All 4 tires have to be put on the ground before you can start your fueling. So these pit stops can potentially take up to a minute and a half to complete when they take tires. So, and the way iRacing works, if you happen to not uncheck your tires to be taken, you basically lost the race right there, because you got a full lap that you're going to lose. And You-Know-Who, Penderperson all had that 50-second gap over the third place guy, but when you forget to check those tires off, you just lost your position.
Yep. Speaking of Penderperson, he has moved back to the second position, and so he has reclaimed his spot, which is really, really a good thing for him.
Yeah, but he will have to pit, and we'll see where we sit here after the pit stops are complete. We are in our pit window of about minute 40 here. And AJ is going to make the pass on Penderperson.
And make note of Erco. He has closed the gap even further on Tonlo, it looks like, as long as my eyes are not deceiving me.
Yep, they are battling right now for the first place position for the LMP2s. I knew the LMP2 cars were going to be a sight to see tonight, and they have not disappointed as of yet. They're bumper to bumper entering the turns. Let me make sure I'm right on these turn numbers. Looks like we're entering turn number 8. This will be turn number 9. And they were almost side by side. Yep. And then we'll be coming into turn number 10 here soon.
Yeah, I'm rooting for Erco here. Want him to get to that first position winner for the LMP2s, but I mean, I don't think Tonlo's going to let him have it, so it's going to be a battle as Erco goes into the pits. So that's. Ugh.
Yeah, but he's pitting before Tonlo. Tonlo has to pit. They're going to gas him up, and he's going to get out of there really, really quick. So I think why Tonlo's playing checkers, Erco may be playing chess.
That's true. That might come to be a good thing for Erco here. So as long as he can strategize it in the right way, then he should hopefully come out on top. But we'll have to see.
And Erco does have that first place position there. We're watching. And we're going to maintain an eye on that pit lane to see when Erco does leave. He's still sitting on pit road at this time, and it looks like Tonlo is now created a gap over Erco. Need to make sure my stuff is right. About 40 seconds. So Erco is out of pit lane now. He's coming back onto the track. Still on the same tires. He did take fuel only, 34 seconds worth of fuel timing. So, we'll have at least one more pit stop for the LMP2s. And, possibly we'll have at least one more for the GT3s when all the GT3s start to come in. But LMP2s are starting to come in here. Erco, AJ, Intergalactic Gentlemen have all completed their pit stops.
And one thing I'd be curious to know, Fuzzy Tacos and Lieutenant Dan, have they even pit yet?
No, they haven't, so I know they're on fumes as Tonlo comes down pit road at this time. We're going to keep an eye on Erco because Erco is going to be trying to make his way around this field You know, he's currently sitting in fourth right now, but he's got a long way to go before he catches Tonlo. As you see, the gap over Tonlo the gap is about 50-something seconds, about 47 seconds here. So
I believe Fuzzy Tacos has gone into the pits as far as I can tell, I think.
Yep, Fuzzy Tacos is on pit road at this time. Tonlo is still considered on pit lane at this time as well. 32 second pit time. He should be exiting shortly. As Erico is going to take the position. Well, actually, we'll watch here. There both of them are.
Oh.
Tonlo's gassing and going here, coming out of the pit lane as Erico is right on his tail, followed by you-know-who in the GT3, who is currently sitting in third as well.
Man, that was almost a pass on Tonlo, but just didn't have enough time. It seemed like Tonlo was really quick on the fueling.
Yep, and Lieutenant Dan, who had an issue earlier in the race, is now leading. He has not been to pit road yet.
So he'll have to pit here probably soon. He's got to be on fumes at this point.
Yeah, he pitted back on, let me see when his pit stop lap was. He pitted on lap 1 after that accident he has. So, and everybody else has pitted on the previous lap. So, we're definitely going to see an issue here coming forward, as you will see Lieutenant Dan probably come down pit lane right now. Erico definitely playing chess over Tonlo right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Erico really wants this, and it's, Tonlo's still not going to let him have it, but I don't know. Maybe we'll see. Maybe we'll see something. Tonlo got really close to that barrier there. That little corner piece off the pit.
Yeah, hopefully iRacing don't reach out and grab him there.
That was, that would be very, very bad.
Dickinson is currently leading right now, as he has been with the GT3s. Penderperson has Tonlo and Erico to get around before he'll be in contention for that first place position. I mean, there's showing the interval here, but about, I know that's not right. Yeah, the gap's about 10 seconds. So.
Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
Yeah, no, something wasn't right. It was saying a minute 44. I'm like, I don't think so.
There's probably only like 3 people in chat that know where that's from. If you ever watch South Main Auto on YouTube, that's where it's from.
And Racer Mom did make a great observation there. The top 7 cars right now for the GT3s are BMWs.
That is pretty crazy to think about.
We'll check back on them in just a second here. 6, 7, and 8 here. Looks like they're getting closer together here. The Pez car, Biker Pilot, Long Island Nerd in 7th, and that number 2 BMW as well. Another Pez car. Oh, there are 2 Pez cars? There are 2 Pez cars.
Oh, man.
I knew my eyes weren't deceiving me.
Love the designs on those cars. It's a bit of a crazy color scheme going on there. I love it.
I like it.
If only I was artistic enough to make something like that.
Yeah, back to the action here up front for the LMP2s. Tonlo is trying to keep Erico off of his tail here as they round out these corners, but Erico is playing cat and mouse right now.
Yeah, Tonlo is just holding his own. He's doing whatever he can to keep that top spot, and considering that both Erico and Tonlo had pitted recently, it's just going to be a battle up until, if they get the next pit stop, or up until the end of the race, depending on how much they have left by the end.
Yep, and this is one, the leader of the GT3s and the leader of the LMP2s have just passed each other, and we're trying to see where these guys panned out. Penderperson is trying to hawk down Dickinson without incident right now, about 10-second gap over them. Looking back through the field here, we're just going to go through the field on positions with the GT3s and see where everybody's sitting at. Who is in third. Looks like 4th belongs to Joshua Spears. 5th is Brando. Brando's driving that pink, looks like a anime car. My wife would love that. In that sixth position is Biker Pilot. He's fighting for everything he's worth to get back up there and get that fifth position. He's got a few cars to get around, but he certainly is looking to get back up there. In that seventh position is Long Island Nerd. Oh, as Long Island Nerd gets sideways.
A little bit of traction loss there, I think.
Yep, and Sector's going to go by him. He's now holds that seventh position. Mystery Lane's going to move up to eighth there with that spin by Long Island Nerd, and Bar South is going to make the pass on Long Island Nerd as well. Long Island Nerd just lost 4 positions with that mistake there.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough break for him, but hopefully he can. I mean, he kept it together, so I mean, he should be fine. Hopefully he can get some position back.
Yeah, and Book driving the Ferrari there is going to be in 11th. 12th belongs to Dean, driving that beautiful purple Mercedes. I just love the way the Mercedes look. 13th is Garlic Dog, who is, there he is, having some connection issues. Prince Adams, he had an incident earlier, got some damage on that right front. Currently holding that 14th position. 15th belongs to Rocky, as Rocky is off track and out of this race. Let's go through the lineup for the LMP2s. We still have the battle for first between Tonlo and Erico. They're about a second and a half away right now from one another. As we mentioned, Tonlo's in that second position. Third belongs to Simply Steve. Fourth belongs to Void as he passes the second place car for the GT3s. In that fifth position is Fuzzy Tacos. Sixth position, which he's hawking down Fuzzy Tacos, is AJ. And that number 45, I like the green color there. I like it. And on the side it says poles are for dancing. Seventh belongs to Lieutenant Dan. He had a lap, so he'll get a point for that, a point or two. I'm not really sure how JTI does it with the points led there. If somebody could let me know in the chat, is there a point for leading a lap? Because I know he did lead one. That ninth position belongs to Eat My Dust. He had an incident earlier, got the car turned around, and unfortunately fell back one position down to ninth. And yeah, that's back into the positions for Dickinson, who is still leading this race. His gap over Penderperson is 10 seconds.
Yeah, Dickinson definitely a very, very strong driver here. I mean, he's been leading the GT3s this whole time, I think, anyway.
Yeah, watching the rear camera here on Tonlo, you can just see, I mean, he's trying to do everything he can to hit these corners perfectly to keep Erico out of his mirror, but Erico is like driving him. Every move that Tonlo makes, Erico seems to perfect it. So,
and it's basically almost a mirror image at this point.
Yeah, and it looks like Erico is going to get some drafting help from that GT3 car, makes a slingshot pass, and is going to close the gap to a second here on Tonlo.
You can tell Erico really he wants it bad. It's the thing he's wanted the most is that first position. Ever since he lost it at the beginning of the race, and he's not stopping at anything to get it.
Yeah, for real. As you see these guys prepare and set up turns number 4 here. And they're dealing with a blinking car there as they get around it, no problem.
Yeah, that was some pretty strong blinking there.
Yeah, for sure. Go back here and check out the action. We have, there's not really a battle as of yet, but, you know, Lieutenant Dan may be setting up the pass on AJ very soon here. And, you know, watching these drivers, you know, this is your first multi-class race Are you impressed with how they're driving so far?
Yeah, I gotta say. I mean, I've seen it here and there and everything, but we're really seeing it this much in detail. I mean, it's definitely really an impressive sight to see.
Yeah, I mean, you got obviously a superior car over the GT3s, but racing them side by side with one another, you just see how they're doing, and you know, seeing how they're using each other. I mean, did you see a while ago when the number 4 of Tonlo, actually take that back.
Oh,
There has been a pass for the lead.
when did that happen? Didn't even notice that. Erko just takes the lead over Tonlo.
Yep, let's take a look at it here. Looks like they were setting up a side-by-side battle entering one of the corners here, and Eriko takes that position from Tonlo.
Look at that.
Beautiful pass, side-by-side action, give everybody room, but Tonlo's not done with him yet. Now, I think Tonlo maybe start playing the chess and Eriko playing the checkers.
Something like that. I'm rooting for you, Erko. Come on, get it done.
Looking to the field here, just getting everybody the recognition they deserve here.
I gotta say that purple Mercedes Bar South, that is pretty sweet looking car. Oh, Mystery Lane, looking like you got a little fishtail there.
Yeah, it did look like Mr. Lane did get a little fishtail there in that Porsche, and I know Porsche's has had that problem with iRacing after the last update. They just get loose very, very quickly. It's like they just snap and go out of nowhere. Prince Adams has actually had an accident.
I was going to make mention of Prince Adams' car earlier. Let's see what happens here.
He just looks like he grabbed that grass a little bit, didn't get it slowed down, still grabs that inside or that wall there coming out of turn number 2 in the S's. And I know what that car reminds me of now. Remember Need for Speed Most Wanted? No. Yeah, Need for Speed, either Most Wanted, yeah, it was Most Wanted. The first car you get, which is the BMW, the one that actually breaks down with you in the first race, that looks like it.
It's been so many years since I played that. But the paint scheme on it reminds me of it doesn't even remind me of anything. It just looks like you could literally slap an iRacing logo on it, and then you could have that as a safety car almost. Like it looks like a safety car kind of paint scheme on Prince Adams' car. Just thought it was a neat little touch, I guess. It's a very simple paint scheme, but definitely suits the car. Of course, to turn a car like that into a safety car, you got to put lights on it and all this other stuff. But you know, food for thought.
I guess so.
I know I talk a lot about random things.
Yeah, the Mercedes is my favorite car out of the GT3 cars. I just absolutely love the way the Mercedes looks. Dean is racing that one as of right now. I love it. I love the way it looks. I love the accent lighting on the front. You know, that's a beautiful car. I want one as he gets a little loose coming out of that corner.
Oof. That was a little bit of a slide out, but kept it together.
And we still have that battle for that front place position between Eriko and Tonlo. They've been battling most of this race. You do not want to miss the action here, guys. I mean, we're approaching our second ad break here in about 3 minutes, and these guys are battling all race long, have been battling all race long. You know, we will have another set of pit stops coming up towards the end of this race, unless they are saving. But Eriko, it looks like he is driving the wheels off that car as he gets sideways, coming off of turn number 2 there.
Yeah, he's got to keep that beautiful machine together and just keep driving the wheels off it, like you said, and you know, keep Tonlo at bay, and hopefully he can come home with the win for the LMPs.
Yeah, you can see Tonlo back there, you know, trying to get everything he can as he actually takes that corner a little high there, trying to get around that GT3 car. That's going to slow him up just enough for Tonlo to get up there to him. Tonlo misses the corner slightly, and that causes Tonlo to actually get a little bit of the position. I'm sorry, Erico to get a little position back over Tonlo.
Yeah, I think it caused Tonlo to slow down a little bit. So that lost him a little bit of track position, but yeah, see, Erico's opening the gap slightly there.
Yeah, that's just because he's corner and the corner's better. Let's take a look at Intergalactic Gentleman here as he passes Eat My Dust in the Porsche. He is trying to get something going here. You know, obviously a top 10 position, which is what he's currently sitting in as a top 10 position. Does look good for points, but you know, you definitely won't be up there in first place.
I mean, everybody wants to be in first place. That's the
Oh,
best
you know
place
what?
to be.
Who is off track? Dean's off track as well. Let's go back and take a look at this here. Oh, it looks like the Erico touched the rear end of you know a who didn't get out of the way, and that's what happens. We're going to look at that one more time from Erico's point of view. You see him just grab him there. It's actually
from what I'm seeing, it looked like who was that in the GT3?
That was you know a who. Oh yeah, you know a who is already loose.
Yeah, I was gonna say it looked like he was already loose, and then Erico just happened to tap him. So I mean, that's just an accident right there. Couldn't really do much about it.
The Long Island Nerd has also had an accident. Let's take a look at it. He's had one or two accidents already this evening. He grabs that grass there and just gets it loose. He didn't actually go around, but it did count as an accident as he lost speed. But
yeah, that's the biggest killer of speed and track position. Everything is touching the grass or locking up the brakes. I mean, it's just it's part of these cars. The control sometimes just isn't there, and so you gotta just kind of keep going and adjust your position, adjust your braking, everything as you go along, and hopefully not do that too many times.
Yeah, and Dickinson is trying to put, I ain't no trying about it, he has put the gap on Joshua Spears with about a 35-second gap over him. And with that, Jacob, we're going to go side by side once again as we have reached the 1 hour mark of this race. We are over halfway through this race. We'll be back here in just a second. Well, that was the last ad break of the evening. I miscalculated. I said 3, but there's only 2 because in the next 30 minutes, the race will be over and we'll be crowning a champion for 2 series, the GT3 and the LMP2. Jacob, as it sits right now, who do you have for each series?
LMP2s, I'm sticking with Airco. I basically made the pick earlier. Airco's been really battling to get back to where he was at the beginning, and he came back to get it, to get his first position, and I'm really rooting for him to get that. As far as GT3, I want to say Dickinson just because he's led the entire thing, but you know, depending on how he is, how he's at for fuel right now, you know, maybe that'll change. But with the gap he's got over Joshua Spears, I'm not sure if that's really a concern.
Yeah,
so.
35 seconds is the gap between Dickinson and Spears right now. Dickinson has been hitting these corners perfectly tonight, but there's always room for a slip up here, as we are never perfect. We always have a flaw, and you know, we're hoping we don't see that tonight. Looks like Dean is going to get passed up by Dickinson there. Dean is currently off the pace by 3 laps now. So you know, that's unfortunate. As these lap cars approach, there was a lot happening there as Eriko and Tonlo approached Dickinson and Dean, but Eriko and Tonlo did get through there okay. But you know, the battle to watch on track has been the LMP2s so far. Keeping everybody in check, that's where we're at. You know, once we reach about 15 minutes left of the race, we will stick with the closest battle on track for the rest of the race. But we actually have a battle right now for 4th between Fuzzy Taco and Void. Void sitting right there in that front position, the number 25. Fuzzy Taco bringing up the rear there, closing the gap to less than a second. As far as my picks go for who's going to win each series, I'm going with Dickinson just because I know how hard it is for the GT3s to overcome a 36-second gap. But between Eriko and Tonlo, they're both hungry for that position. So I don't know yet. If I had to go, I'm going to go with the underdog, which is Tonlo. So
I can respect that. That's a good choice. Of course, I think pretty much anyone, well, I wouldn't say anyone, but I'd imagine a majority of people would go with Dickinson for the GT3s just because, you know, he's led the entire pack of GT3s this whole race. He's a really strong driver, you know, really good at what he does. And as you said, overcoming a 36-second gap in a GT3 car is very, very difficult. Not impossible. It's possible, but I don't know. I mean, if Joshua Spears hits everything correctly, maybe, but yeah, I don't know.
But it looks like Mystery Lane and Sector is battling for the 7th spot.
I think Mystery Lane was one of the ones that I was originally going to pick for the GT3s, just because, you know, he's the one driving the Porsche. But you know, I mean, Dickinson's up front, so I don't know. I guess if I can have 2 picks for GT3s, it'd be Mystery Lane because he's driving a Porsche, and then Dickinson because he's in the lead. But
problem with Mystery Lane though, he's a minute 28 back on the gap, so he's actually fixing to get lapped. So
that is true. It sucks. You know, I was hoping he'd have a bit more in him, but I don't know. I guess just some bad positioning, bad timing, whatever it may be. So it sucks, but this is multi-class racing for you.
Yeah, for sure. Eriko and Tonlo still in their same position. Looks like we have a guy, Garlic Dog's on pit road now. Garlic Dog maybe starting the 2nd round of pit stops for the GT3. We are nearing that point. You know, just coming in for a top off and leaving. That was a 19-second pit stop, so they're definitely not as low as they were before. Garlic Dog should have enough to make it through the end. His total time on pit lane was 48 seconds exactly.
Yeah, as you said, just a quick top off and everything, and just you know, grabbing what you can. You know, tires really, for a lot of these guys, aren't the problem. You just go in, get some fuel, and then you just last the rest of the race. I mean, that's the whole thing here with the fuel stops is that you're pretty much going until the end of the race. This is your last stop. You just make it count.
Yeah, make it count. Don't mess up the car any more than it is if you're already injured, or if the car is injured. So, you know, these guys have done pretty well. We've not seen a whole lot of accidents tonight, although we did see Garlic Dog go off track a while ago, and Simply Steve also had an incident. Let's look at this. Simply Steve in that white LMP2 car. He just got off.
Riding the Apex, and riding the Apex, that's one of the things that's going to happen. Because the Apexes have a little bit of a bounce to them, or a little bit of kind of edges that you can hit, and so they end up bouncing your car a little bit. So you don't want to stay on the Apex. You want to hit it to get through the corner, but you don't want to stay on it the whole time.
Yeah, you're referring to the sausage curbs. The Apex is actually in the middle of the sausage curbs. That's where you apex the corner at. And these guys have been apexing these corners perfectly tonight, especially Erico and Tonlo. And we'll watch them here as you see they do grab the sausage curbs, as Rob calls them, sausage fingers, whatever the heck you want to call them.
Well, I think the actual term is sausage curbs. I just refer to them as apexes just because that's what I've, I'm not a racer. I don't have the racing side in me, and so I just refer to the whole length of sausage curbs as the apex. I don't know why. It's just that's how it's been for my 20+ years of existence.
Yeah, for sure. And Erico here is hitting these corners perfectly, but it seems to be that Tonlo is doing the same thing. One of these guys have got to give. Hopefully it's not Erico, because you want Erico to win. And Erico is he fought hard to get where he is currently, but we're at the 20 to go mark, so we're gonna stick with the closest battles on track here. There's all three BMWs there in a row. Looks like it's Brando, Penderperson, and you know who.
Be an interesting battle between Brando and Penderperson. See if Penderperson can close the gap.
Yeah, the gap between Brando and Penderperson is about, I'd say about a minute, about a second and a half, something like that. So,
and I know Penderperson, he's been up there behind Dickinson a couple times. There was one time near the beginning of the race, and then he had an incident, dropped back to I think probably middle of the pack in the GT3s, and then made his way back up to second, and then now he's in is that fourth?
Yep, and we are 20 minutes to go in this race. I did want to sit there and highlight some drivers that have done well during this endurance race. One of those drivers is Dickinson himself. Dickinson moved up 8 spots to be in the position he's in. He moved up 8 total spots. That's miraculous.
Oh, so he didn't start in first then, or did he?
Now, hold on, let me look here.
Because I thought, I don't know, I don't remember.
I'm sorry. You're right. He did move up. He moved up. He did not move up any positions.
Okay. I figured that's what it was, because I remember, like I said, he'd been leading this whole race, so.
Yeah, no. And hold on just a second. We just had a lead change for.
Oh. Simply Steve?
I'm thinking Erico and Tomlo went the pit road. I'm checking here. Yes, Erico and Tomlo did hit pit lane. The gas slipped a little bit. They were on pit lane 6 and 9 seconds. So Tomlo was on pit road for in the pit stop for 6 seconds. Erico for 9 seconds. Tomlo took the position away from Erico and is now sitting in that second position. But Simply Steve may have enough fuel to make it, because he was one of the last cars to pit during the green flag pit stops earlier. So this may have shaken the entire race up here, as Simply Steve does enter pit road now. Tomlo is leading. Erico's got a battle him down to the end. Erico is sitting about a second and a half back from Tonlo. Now we have a race.
I was going to say Simply Steve looks to have gone into the pits.
Yep, he is sitting there right now.
So now it's back to Tonlo and Erico, and there's the gap that we saw earlier.
Yeah, and Erico was able to bring that gap down really quickly by the way he was hitting these corners. As you see him gearing through his gearbox, trying to do whatever he can to get back up there. We're going to ride along here until we get back to the start-finish line. You can see Erico just driving the wheels off of that car now. His crew chief is in his ear saying, you have to go now. You have to get to that position. As you see, you know who holding up Tonlo just by a little bit.
Even just that little bit's going to help out Erico to close the gap, and we'll have to see what happens here. This is probably I think the biggest battle right now.
Yeah, the biggest battle on track is between these two. I don't see another close one.
And come on, Erico. I'm rooting for you, buddy. Get her done.
Erico is just battling to get back up there into that position. As you can see, the gap as Erico gets loose coming out of the hairpin turns.
That's going to hurt a little bit. Not by much, but just that little bit. Because little mistakes like that can add up, and you get enough of those, you might lose the potential that you had.
I just want to take a second and thank the two recent follows by Nan and I'm the last person that followed. It's Gino. Gino, I'm gonna just abbreviate that name. Gino, appreciate the two follows. We do appreciate it. I hope you're enjoying the action here. The fog has lifted here at Interlagos, and we have a battle on our hands for the LMP2s. Dickinson still has a heck of a lead over Penderperson. It's almost up to 50 seconds now, so there's really not much going on there. You know, as long as Dickinson can hold the car going straight. But the battle on track right now is Erico and Tonlo as we reach the less than 15 minutes to go here. You see, I mean, he looks like he's in striking distance right now. I mean, he wants it, but these corners, you don't want to overdrive these corners and spin that car out. We've seen that multiple times tonight, especially through turns 9 through 11.
And like we mentioned, or like I mentioned, the little mistakes can add up, and so you really got to be on top of the car and make sure he doesn't make any of those little mistakes, and just keep it going in the direction he needs to be going, and hope that maybe by happenstance the GT3 car will hold up Tonlo a little bit so he can close the distance.
Yeah, and Erico is getting some drafting help from Garlic Dog right there, and I believe that was Garlic Dog. Yes, Garlic Dog in that purple BMW.
It's a sweet looking car.
I'll look at our sectors here between these two drivers here, Erico and Tonlo. What we're going to do here is measure the sectors, see which one is doing better in each sector. Looks like Erico actually lost some time there, about 7/100ths of a second there in sector 1. We'll check sector 2 here. Looks like Tonlo is, getting better through sectors 1 and 2. Can we get some good sectors from Erico going forward? And sectors are each separate parts of the track that actually has timing involved. Yeah, Erico lost time there as well. 0.2 seconds worth of time.
Yeah, he's really trying for it, but
there was a gain there by about 5/100ths of a second, but that's definitely not enough to make up what he lost.
Yeah, he's really trying for it, but it's just it's not happening.
Just making note here, Dickinson's on pit road now. We'll keep an eye on timing here for that. Second place should be entering pit lane here momentarily for those. And it looks like Tonlo has better sectors in 1, 2, and 3. And Erico has better sectors in 3 and 4. I mean 4 and 5.
Even still, it's not enough. Not enough to gain the distance that he needs to make a pass.
Yeah, so Erico actually lost that last lap about 2/100ths of a second over Tonlo. So we're hoping for a fast lap here. Keeping an eye on pit lane here. It looks like Dickinson is back out of pit lane and is currently holding that front position. But now the gap is 6 seconds between him and Penderperson.
Yep. So he was able to hold the lead, but his gap has closed significantly, and so now he has to think a little bit during this last less than 15 minutes to go.
Yeah, Penderperson may be going down pit lane here any moment. Get back to the action up front here. Tonlo has increased the gap to almost a second.
Yeah, so Erico's losing some position and gaining. He's unfortunately extending the distance, or Tonlo's extending the distance between the two. So, you know, Erico really, I mean, he's fighting for everything he's got. He's giving it everything he's got, and it's, you know, it works sometimes, doesn't work the other time. So it's kind of a game. You know, you just got to keep playing and hope you can get some kind of luck.
Yeah, and on that last lap, lap 57, Erico again lost another 0.3 of a second on Tonlo. Dickinson is got a superior lead now over second place. The second place position is Penderperson. Slightly got a lead over Penderperson. He still has some lap cars in front of him. 2 lap cars, Garlic Dog and Bar South. The gap right now is about 3 seconds between Dickinson and Penderperson. Tonlo gets a little loose there going on the rumble strips. The gap has been closed down to a half a second at the line here. And Erico did have a faster lap that time. He did gain up all the time that he left on track in the last 2 previous laps. We have 10 minutes to go, less than 10 minutes to go in this race. We're down to 8 minutes almost at the line.
Yeah, so if it wasn't go time already, it's even more go time. I mean, this is the time where they got to really nail down everything, nail down the strategy, and just gun it.
Well, what do they say? Put up or shut up, right?
Something like that, yeah.
Tonlo was one of the drivers that I wanted to win the race. He is definitely showing out right now, increasing the gap slightly to about 0.7 of a second.
Yeah, it's just been a game of cat and mouse at this point, just increasing the gap, decreasing the gap. I mean, it's been all over the place, and you know, it's been, I guess, fairly consistent at that. So
yeah, the next people in line, which is simply Steve and Lieutenant Dan, they're sitting at a 16-second gap over second place right now. Our second place is sitting at a 16-second gap over third place. I meant to say that way. Erico has decreased it down to 0.3 of a second here as we get ready to set up some good corners. Who's going to corner these corners well? If you haven't already, make sure that you get more people in to watch. Get your family around because this is going to be a heck of a finish for the LMP2s.
Yep, share the stream out to your Facebook friends, Twitter followers, Instagram, all that good stuff. Tell them about us.
These two guys up front in the LMP2s are putting on a show right now. Let's take a look at Dickinson. Dickinson's currently leading the pack right now by about 7 seconds over Penderperson. Penderperson has definitely cut that gap down. I think that pit road action there that Dickinson went down when he went down pit lane definitely helped with that. But creating that separation of about 50 seconds over Penderperson helped as well, so he can go in there and get some fuel and not really have to worry about Penderperson on the exit. Tonlo and Erico are fighting hard right now. 0.3 of a second gap right now.
Yeah, Erico's really trying to get everything he can. I mean, hell, if he had Nos right now, it'd probably help, but can't have that, unfortunately.
No, you'll definitely lose using some form of a cheat there.
Something like that, but he definitely needs all of the advantages he can get, whether it be taking the corners, the braking points different, just trying to get every single possible edge that he can over Tonlo, and it may work, it may not. You just got to see.
Yeah, Dean is
a lot of time left.
Dean has entered pit lane right now. Less than 5 minutes to go here in the race. Probably have another 3 laps remaining, give or take. These guys are battling it out strong here. Tonlo is increased the gap to almost 0.8 of a second.
Man.
And he's doing everything he can in that Dallara P217 to maintain what he has. As he enters turns 1, 2, and 3 here. They'll be on the Reta Oposta. Is what they call this straightaway.
Do you need help with pronunciation?
Probably. I'm not good at Spanish. I felt it as Tonlo gets loose.
Portuguese, but we'll go with that.
Is that what this is?
Yeah, it's Portuguese. Portuguese and Spanish are very, very slightly different, but they're somewhat the same.
I'm glad I'm taking a language class right now in Portuguese because I'm gonna need it. Because Tonlo is going to be speaking the native tongue when he walks home with this win in less than 4 minutes.
I wouldn't say he's going to win this one yet.
There is still a battle.
If the race ended now, yeah, he would win, but we still got a little bit of time. Anything could happen.
And just noting there for Dean and Nerd fans out there, Dean has overtaken Nerd for the 11th position. At the stripe, no flag in the air as of yet. It looks like the GT3 car is going to give Erico some challenges as he enters the first corner here in the S's. Oh! And
right
we have a 2-second loss with Erico.
Oh no. That's going to hurt.
Let's go back and take a look at that. We'll back it up here because that was a move by Long Island Nerd that I don't know if I would have done it or not. I'm going to ride along with Erico here. It's like Long Island Nerd. He's off his right side right now, gets that corner good, and then it looks like Erico overdrove that corner. And yeah,
I think he got thrown off a little bit nervous. That's going to cost him. That's going to cost him.
That was the The move of the race with the GT3 cars, that's why these GT3 cars have such an issue. These GT3 cars can create an issue with these LMP2 cars, and you've seen it right there. We'll go back over here and check on Dickinson, but you've seen the GT3, you've seen Garlic Dog get right there in the way of Erico, and Erico took the corner, overshot it because he thought that the car may have gotten out of his way, but he didn't. Because, Garlic Dog's running his own race. He doesn't really have to, right? So, that's where we're at there as Eat My Dust approaches Dickinson here. Dickinson will move out of the way for Eat My Dust. You hate to see it up front for sure. Erico wanted that position, but my man Tonlo, as long as he can get through these next few corners, smooth sailing, he will be the winner tonight. And speaking of the winner, make sure you catch our post-race show, which will be right after this race. No break needed here. We're going to talk to both of the winners, one winner from the winner of the LMP2s and the winner of the GT3. So make sure you stick around for that. White flag will be in the air this lap. 1 lap to go here as we come down to the stripe for the second to final time. Once we pass the 1 minute 30-second mark, cars on track that pass that start finish line will have 1 to go. We may see some that go ahead and take the checker there, the guys that are a lap down, but we will have 1 lap to go here for Tonlo and Erico. Erico is not out of contention yet, but he's got a lot of ground to make up on Tonlo. Penderperson is actually in the between them, sitting in second. Dickinson in first on the GT3 side. This will be his final lap as he approaches these hairpin turns I've talked about so much tonight, causing a lot of issues all over the track.
Yeah, these hairpin turns have been the kind of crutch of a lot of people, of quite a few of these drivers, and traction loss, hitting the grass, just losing control. It's happened to almost everybody. So
yeah, and Dickinson will round out turn number 15 here. And this will be his last lap over the line. Dickinson will win. Penderperson will be following up. Tonlo is still racing. Actually, Tonlo was just crossed the start-finish line as well. Tonlo will pick up the win for the LMP2s. Dickinson is our winner for the GT3s. We'll go through the respective list here shortly. But as it sits right now, everybody on track is approaching the start-finish line at this time. Simply Steve crosses in third for the LMP2s. I know these guys are ready to get out of here. That was a tight, tough race all the way down to the end.
yeah, absolutely. Something interesting. I'm not sure if the timing tower is having an issue, but I believe Dickinson had crossed the finish line and finished, but it's not showing a checkered next to his entry.
I see that as well. I think he's got 1 more lap.
Yeah, may have hit that point where he just needed that 1 more.
Racer Mom is congratulating Uproad Motorsports. They are top 4. So congratulations to them. Yeah, this is Dickinson's last lap here. There it is.
There he goes.
Well, that completes it, guys. LMP2
That's
GT3 completed. Let's
Here at
show
Interlagos.
let's show the results here. LMP2 here. Tonlo, Erico, Simply Steve, round out your top 3. That's your podium. Fuzzy Tacos in 4th. Lieutenant Dan in 5th. AJ in 6th. Void in 7th. Eat My Dust in 8th. Intergalactic Gentleman. He was another one I was trying to pull for tonight. Finished in ninth. In the top, rounding out the last car is Rocky, who did not complete the race here. Checking out the GT3 series. GT3 Dickinson was our leader and our winner tonight. Penderperson, Joshua Spears is our second and third place. You know who in fourth, Brando in fifth, Biker Pilot in sixth, Sector in seventh, Bar South in eighth, Mystery Lane in ninth, Book in 10th, Dean in 11th, Long Island Nerd in 12th, 13th belongs to Prince Adams, 14th is Garlic Dog, and 15th is Junior McKinn, who did not finish this race. Let's talk to the winners.
So we'll bring in, who do you want to bring in first, Dickinson or Tonla?
We'll bring in Dickinson first. We'll do Tonla at the end.
All right. Dickinson, Jacob and Booth, how you got me?
Hey, I got you.
Man, you led the whole race. That was awesome. Been praising you all night. You're a strong driver. You know exactly what you're doing. How does it feel to get the win for the GT3s?
Yeah, it was pretty fun. I don't like that I didn't get the fast lap. My teammate did. That was rather irritating, but I was trying my best. So it was still a good win.
Yeah, so you were definitely playing chess, as I have mentioned multiple times tonight. You got about 50 seconds ahead of Penderperson, and at one point you were almost a full lap ahead of Penderperson, and whoever else is in second. And when you went to pit lane, it's like it didn't really matter because you were so far ahead. Explain the last pit stop though, because Penderperson was able to get the gap down to 7 seconds.
Yeah, so I had a free tire stop. So I just took a whole new set of tires because I knew I would still come out in first again. And I was just going for that to try and I wanted a 29. I really wanted a 29, so I just tried it, and then I did not expect the car to go slower with fresh tires than it was with worn out tires. So kind of didn't work out.
But I mean, you still take home the win tonight. And Racer Mom is in the chat saying Upfront Motorsports Top 4. Are you part of that team?
Yeah, that's actually my team.
Nice. Well, congratulations to Upfront Motorsports for being in the top 4 tonight.
Yeah, thank you.
And
it was a good race.
Yeah, for sure. At the end of the race, I kind of had a feeling you were going to win because I mean you were so far ahead. I mean, at the end of the race, the gap, the interval was about 10 seconds. But at one point, like I said, I seen it about a minute 15, minute 20. You were probably seeing the rear end of Penderperson there towards that time. But the biggest thing I got to say tonight is just congratulations. You did well tonight. And, I bet you're excited next week to move on to the next chapter of this series. So with that being said, you got anything to say to your fans or your sponsors out there tonight?
Yeah, just thanks everyone for watching. Thanks SimCity, all the support. Good luck to all of us at Petit Le Mans on Saturday. That's what we've been preparing for. So I took a little break tonight to do this race. So looking forward to it.
Yep. And, if you're streaming that race, where can we catch it at?
My Twitch channel is just twitch.tv. It's sdickinson64. And I will be streaming most of that race.
Well, if you don't mind, DM me that, and we'll host your race on Saturday.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll go ahead and shoot that over.
Fantastic. Appreciate it, Dickinson, and we will talk to you hopefully next week when we do the sprint series.
Sounds good. Have a good one, guys.
See ya.
Me too.
All right. Is Tonlo available?
He is. We'll pull him in. Tonlo's Jacob in the booth. You got me.
Hey, how's it going?
That's going pretty good. Quite the battle between you and Erco. That was pretty much one of the battles for the entire race. Of course, Erco had the first position and then had a bit of an issue, and you overtook him at the beginning. And I mean, you held it really well. And then towards the end of the race, you swapped positions again, and then you went into the pits, and then you came out on top, and then you won the race. How does it feel to win?
It's pretty nice. I mean, my main rival right now is Lieutenant Dan, and I knew I needed to at least get points. If Erica was really gonna fight me, I mean, he was keeping it really close there at the end. I think I was gonna let him take it because I didn't want to mess up and maybe fall back to third or fourth or something. So because I wanted to get as many points as I could. There at the end, I tried getting the fastest lap, but caught traffic. I was really close to getting it, but it's still very happy for that win. It's a good grab of points this week.
Yeah, good grab of points, and you guys were the battle of the race all race long. We kept checking in on you guys, and every time I checked, there'd either be a new leader or you guys were just battling all night long. And you kept it clean. There was an issue with the lap car or with the GT3 car that got Erico a little loose there towards the end of the race with less than 5 minutes to go. That I mean, that's just racing. You know what it is. So you did good tonight. You were one of my picks to win the race, and I'm glad that you didn't get the curse of the United Racing Network that has affected so many people.
Yeah.
So congratulations there. Just tell us, I mean, overall, how do you feel about next week?
Well, next week I don't think I do the sprint ones too much. If I have time, I'll do it. But got a kid and baby, so it's kind of hard to find time for it. So probably won't be there next week, but the week after that, I feel pretty good. Just got to keep practicing because I tend to, after a win, not really practice as much. So I've been trying to go ahead and focus on that, and I'm pretty sure next track is Catalunya, so that's the track I picked for winning the championship last season. So that I have to show up at that track and do well. So
There you go.
probably one of my favorite ones too.
Well, the fans will get a sneak peek at Catalunya next week when we hit there for the Sprint Cup or with the sprint races. I keep trying to say Sprint Cup because of NASCAR, but it's the sprint race. When we take the Porsches out there and do the 20-minute sprint and then the 40-minute sprint. So, unfortunately, you said we won't see you there, but I know you'll be getting your laps around that track in this LMP2 car. Just talk to me a minute. This LMP2 car is quick, and with Interlagos being as tight as it was, were you kind of concerned with the other class being on track with you all at the same time?
Not too much. I mean, over the season, it's shown that these guys can race clean and hold their line. There's a few times when they're trying to be a little too generous and not hold their line, and it's kind of confusing because when you're coming up on them real quick, you have to make a split decision, and I know the lines that a GT3 should kind of take, so I might try and line it up so I can get offline and overtake them. But so sometimes they won't do that. But I mean, it's fine. It was tight in some corners, but I worked really hard on the setup to give me stability when things start getting a little loose. And that was my main focus, is just trying to have a car that I can control when it starts getting loose, because the second to last corner before you hit the finish straight, the long straight to go to the finish, the car was always losing the rear for me. I was always just trying to sliding around that corner. It was very difficult, but not too bad. I like these guys. They race quite clean, so it's fun.
Yeah, for sure. I've definitely enjoyed watching. I mean, I hate it that we've had some issues in the last few races, but we promise to bring you guys the action each week going forward and fulfill the contract that we have with J2i. Hopefully, you guys will have us back next season. Yeah, you definitely, if you don't usually watch our playbacks, you definitely want to at least go through and check this one out to check the battles, because you guys battled it out all night long. You were what kept our viewer count up to 25 at sometimes.
Nice. It was a lot of fun, so I like those types of races.
Yeah, for sure. Final question I ask it every week to the winner. You got anything to say to your fans or your sponsors out there?
Well, if I have any fans out there, thanks. I appreciate it, because I don't know about you, but it's nice if you guys are there. You guys keep me going.
I'm a fan.
Well, all right. I'm adding you to the list, so I'm gonna keep thanking you every week then.
You might have me as a fan too.
Oh, awesome.
Nice. Well, Tonlo, congratulations on your win here at Interlagos. Make sure you fly home tonight, and make sure you were safe flying home tonight, because the flights out of Brazil can get a little choppy. So, right. With that being said, we're going to let Tonlo fly back to the States, and we're going to close out the stream. Tonlo, thank you again, and congratulations.
All right. Thanks for what you guys do. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Well, Jacob, that's the results on that one. I mean, we've seen it was just fantastic racing all night. I mean,
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely. The battle between Tonlo and Erko was just crazy. Speaking of Erko, he's sitting in our waiting frequency. We want to have a special feature and talk to him a little bit.
we can. I mean, I want to talk to him about that lap car, or that GT3 car. So yeah, let's pull him up here and talk to him real quick.
All right. Erko, it's Jacob in the booth. How you got me?
Oh, wow. I was a little bit surprised.
Sorry about that.
No.
Hell of a race between
thank you.
between you and Tonlo. Um, you had a couple little issues. So the one at the beginning where you lost the position to Tonlo, what happened there? Because it looked a little odd to me. So just kind of explain what was going on there, what your thought process was.
Yeah, so early on in the race, I'm not sure how well it came through on the stream, but it was pretty kind of foggy, and just the track was just a little slippy, greasy feeling, and that's kind of a funky turn in that car. You don't really have a lot of downforce, so it can just kind of step out on you a little bit, and that's pretty much what happened. Just lost it, spun it up a little bit, and tried the best I could to hold on to it.
Yeah, and then you fought back. You lost 2 positions, fell back to 4th, got those back pretty quickly, and then you just started hawking down Tonlo. Tonlo led most of the laps on the LMP2 side of things up until you got him back about the 1 hour mark. Then you started battling again. You had 30 minutes. You started battling hard, and you made the pass there, but then you lost it again when you went to the pit lanes. But you started battling again. But close to the end of the race, about an hour 25, hour 26, you approached. I don't want to get the name wrong. Garlic Dog.
Oh yeah.
And the 199, and he didn't move out of the way for you. I know he was getting the blue flags, move out of the way, but he didn't. You set the turn up a little improperly and overdrove the first corner. Talk us through that.
Yeah, Garlic didn't do anything. That's just part of multi-class racing. Sometimes traffic works out for you, sometimes it doesn't. And Tonlo is just so fast. There's only a couple tracks this season that I even remotely have a chance in pace to keep up with, like Tonlo and Dan, and this is one of them. So I was within striking distance. I knew I had pace on them, and I just overcooked it. Just outbroke myself, and then it was just a little too far back, not enough time. Couldn't track him down again. But that's just part of it.
I had made mention of that. The way it looked to me is that it kind of looked like you were a little bit nervous and kind of you were a little unsure about the positioning and everything. And so kind of just like you said, overcooked the corner, and that happens. I mean that's all part of this style of racing. You still held your own. You did what you could to recover, and you held up right till the end, even with a disappointing result. I mean, you were my pick. I was rooting for you to win, but unfortunately, you couldn't get there. But you know what? Second place, that's good.
I'll be honest, that's probably the best finish I'm gonna have this season. So I'm definitely gonna take the points and run.
You're a good driver.
Yeah, but man, you guys, I'm telling you, Tonlo and Dan are almost untouchable for me. Most tracks, it's kind of fuzzy fuzzy Steve, Squilliam when he's here. It's us kind of battling it out for first, third, and fourth, and yeah. So I'm ecstatic about it. Obviously, wish I could have got past him, especially after hearing in his interview that he was essentially just going to let me have it if I called back up to him. So I'm kind of kicking myself. I wasn't here last season, and it was kind of in his head. He was talking about fuel saving and all this stuff. So I really wanted to win tonight, but P2, I'm stoked about it. So
yeah, P2 ain't bad.
Well, Erico, you did fantastic night. I mean, even the shortcomings that you've had, especially later on in that race and then the beginning of the race, you still ended up in a good spot, and you just congratulations on P2. Although Ricky Bobby and his dad said it best: if you ain't first, you're last.
Hey man, he's right. But yeah, before we hop out of here, I just want to tell you guys, obviously from everybody at J2i, thank you. We've been loving your streams. You've been doing a great job, and obviously you guys can just keep it up. We love having you.
Hey, we do appreciate it, Eric. So, well, all right, Jacob, we're going to let him fly on back to the States as well. I know he's ready to get on that supersonic jet and be back home in about 20 minutes. So
that's right. Y'all have a good night.
See you, Eric.
Hey, you too, buddy.
Well, Jacob, it's 10, almost 11 o'clock for me. Let's end this thing.
Yeah, let's get on out of here. Thanks everyone for watching. Everyone that's come out to support us, all the followers, everybody who's said good things about us and shared our stuff. Just thank you so much for everything that you do. Keep sharing the stream. Keep telling your friends, family, everybody about it, and all that. And just thank you for the support, and we'll keep doing our thing.
Yep. If you're in the NASCAR action, we'll be at Pocono next week with the BSC Cup on Tuesday night. We'll be going live at 6:45 Central, 7:45 Eastern, and then we'll be going to Catalina. Is that
Catalunya?
Catalunya. I'm not really good with these road course names. We'll be going there on Wednesday night with the sprint action with J2i. You don't want to miss it. We'll be going live with that at 8:30 as well. 8:30 Central, 9:30 Eastern.
9:30 Eastern, yep.
So you don't want to miss that next Wednesday. We love you guys, and just follow if you hadn't. Subscribe if you're feeling generous. You can do it free with if you have Amazon Prime. And we also have a donation bar at the bottom. Make sure you check out W Energy, URNW at checkout for 10% off of your order. And check out JP Alfonso Studios. He does some great artwork for tattoos. We love you guys, and we'll see you next week. This broadcast is the property of the United Racing Network and Twitch.tv. All reproductions of this broadcast must be approved by the United Racing Network staff. United Racing Network does not claim any responsibility for mishaps that may occur while listening to this production. United Racing Network reserves the right to delete, mute, unpublish, and/or move streaming locations without notice. The opinions of the announcers are not influenced by sponsorship, league administration, or any other outside entities. Thank you.